It's hard to overstate how disappointing last Tuesday's election in Virginia was for Democrats. And who do they actually have to thank for that smackdown? Well, white women. Yet again. White women handily elected Glenn Youngkin to governor in Virginia, and what many people may not realize is that white women have actually been the driving force behind conservative politicians for decades. Sometimes, though, they do swing left, which is why Democrats constantly pander to quote-unquote soccer moms and suburban moms and even waitresses, which are just some of the various archetypes that messaging consultants name white women voters each election season. They are always the target, it seems, and yet they so often disappoint. So where else could Democrats actually invest that time and energy in order to yield better returns? Daily Beast columnist Wajahat Ali is still with me, and he is here to give us great insight on how Democrats can actually divert their attention from all these white ladies and actually focus on the bigger, broader, big tent umbrella, more diverse coalition. I gotta say, that piece that you penned for the Daily Beast was fire, as always, and you dissected why white women came out for Youngkin, and frankly, why they've been supporting Republicans for decades. So can you please just share with everybody, give us some of the historical context here?
Since 1952, the majority of white women have gone for Republican presidential candidates. The only two presidents that they did not vote for were one-time LBJ and second term of Bill Clinton. When it came to a majority of white women, 47 to 45 went for Trump in the first election. And after his cruelty and racism and misogyny, Aisha, in 2020, 53 to 55% went for him. So when it comes to Virginia, are you surprised that 57% of white women went for Youngkin when he manufactured a fake racist dog whistle against CRT that is not taught in elementary school, and then they said parents' choice. They have been called segregationists, constant gardeners. They have helped uphold white supremacy and misogyny. They are the handmaidens of white supremacy, and they have been basically the ones who have answered the call to the racist dog whistles. And we saw this again right here in Virginia, where, and even now in the media coverage, actually, let's be honest about it. All this blanket coverage about average American parents in Virginia, the suburban parents, the middle-class parents. How come we've never seen any black women, Latino women, Asian women, Muslim women? I live in Virginia because society sees them as the normal, the center, the moderate, even though they have backed a hard right extremist racist party, a fringe movement now, the Republican Party, and they answered the bell whistle, which was CRT. Back in the day, it was invasion. Back in the day, it was the welfare queen, states' rights, busing, Obama.
Yep.
It's been going on since 1952, and Democrats fail to realize their coalition, again, is a diverse coalition where you will never get the majority of whites. You just need 40 to 45%. So start chasing Stacey, stop chasing Karen.
Well, look, I got to tell you, I don't want to even pretend to try to dissect and understand the psychology of the white woman. But I know a lot of previously, I didn't realize that they were Becky's, but I guess they are, or Karen's, or, you know, whomever's. And it's interesting to me, the rationale there behind their flip-flopping, right? I'm a good person. I'm such a good person, until it comes down to being just you and a black man out in Central Park, and he's way away from you, but you're going to make up a lie that you're going to call the cops and claim that your life is threatened because you're such a good person and this black guy's doing absolutely nothing to you in the middle of Central Park. You're the one who's actually breaking the rules. But there's something that is inherently told in this country and taught to white women, that they are superior, that they are pure, and that frankly, they are always above the fray, even when they do us dirty. And I wonder how that played out in Virginia with regards to critical race theory, because so many of these women, I mean, you just laid out the data there about past elections. And the truth is that no Democrat, like you said, since LBJ, has actually won the presidency with the majority of the white vote. It's just not where we are at this point. And certainly white women are vacillating. White women went for Obama. White women didn't go for Hillary. Like, it kind of is all over the place. I wonder the justification or the thought behind how they could actually, in Virginia, support Obama, which is why Virginia is ultimately blue-purplish, right? Because of white women actually voted for Democrats at some point. And now here they are, these good people. I'm such a good person. Supporting Glenn Youngkin, who is crazy, and supporting this idea that they don't want critical race theory, even though they're not racist. What is underpinning that? What's up with them? Like, how do they
What
justify it?
white supremacy, two steps forward, one step back. In the summer of 2020, they all came out against the murder of George Floyd and they said, I'm a good person. And then once we decided to do something about it, once we decided to challenge the system, once we decided to talk about diversity and equity and inclusion, once that started to get into the conversation in the mainstream, once they had to give up some of that privilege where their tears are weapons and worse than bullets have been able to cut down black and brown men, like Emmett Till, a kid who allegedly whistled at a young woman and she lied about it and he got mutilated. Amy, that lady in Central Park you mentioned, who weaponized her white tears in order to call the cops against a peaceful black man who was just watching his birds, right? Why give up that power, Aisha? Why give up that privilege? Why be made to feel
Mm,
uncomfortable? I cannot tell
mm.
you how many insane messages and emails I've gotten in the past 4 days from this one article accusing me of being racist simply because I talked about their racism. I laid out the data, I laid out the facts. I said majority of white women go for Republican candidates who use racist dog whistles. I asked why, I gave an answer, and I am the racist and you're the racist for making them uncomfortable to talk about racist. And then they voted for a racist president and a racist Youngkin who won on a racist campaign because you and me talked about racism. That's how they justify it. That's how they
Mm.
rationalize it. That's how they want to maintain their power and be victims and blame people of color who don't. I don't want them to feel guilty. Well, your guilt is useless to me. I want you to be a part and parcel of this movement to tear down the system and replace it with equality so all of our children can taste the American dream. What's wrong with that? But if they don't want to give up that power, then it becomes a rationalization that you forced me to vote for Youngkin because you're
Mm.
introducing CRT and you hate white people because you're making me feel guilty for white supremacy. Amazing.
We actually just put up something that I want to come back to. You received a gem of a note the other
Mm.
day, and I want to bring that back up and have you react to it. You posted this, I think, on Twitter, and there was a self-described white man who, in his words, quote, loves all people, and wrote to you in a message that he thinks that racism is stupid, but that because his ancestors fought to end slavery, he doesn't feel like he has to apologize for anything. The irony, what in all the hell? Tell us how you reacted to that.
Well, first of all, hopefully one day they'll learn the difference between your and you are. I get messages like this all the time, and I want people to go. I want people to go back and really spend time reading that message. It's a beautiful encapsulation of our entire conversation and the psychology of whiteness, of how they can rationalize basically being racist and supporting racist policies, and at the same time claim victimhood. I'm the victim. I'm innocent.
Mm.
I'm absolved of all guilt. You have made me feel uncomfortable for talking about racism. I'm the good white. He also said in that letter, we helped defeat slavery. Well, congratulations, have a cookie. White people were also the ones slaving. All right. So like that was also in like the 1860s. So what is your role right now in helping end these brutal systems of white supremacy that have infected housing, wages, incarceration, media representation, right? And if you are an ally who wants the American dream, how come you're not sitting there side by side with me and saying, yeah, right on? And the last thing I'll say is white people can be against whiteness. Let me repeat this. This is crazy. White people
Mm.
can be against whiteness, and there are people of color who cape for whiteness. So just because you're white doesn't mean you support the whiteness. But it seems that a lot of people who think they're white think that they're the victims, even though whiteness supports them and gives them privileges. What I just said will make perfect sense to you if you actually took a CRT class in law school like I did.
Ah, yes, because by the way, that's the only place they're teaching CRT. It's not in your elementary schools or in your high schools or anywhere in Virginia. So that's a whole different thing. Last thing, I got a minute, and I just want you to react to this. Obviously, you laid out that Democrats need to keep the coalition of people of color coming out to vote for them because that's how they win. How do they think that they're going to win if they keep attacking wokeness?
What does woke mean? I agree with others who said that woke is now used as a slander against people of color. Now you're repeating that slander that has been weaponized and manufactured just like CRT and cancel culture by their right wing. And you're telling people we're too woke. Congratulations, you're an idiot. That's a self-own. You're destroying yourself. And literally what I would do is I would concede nothing. I've said this on your show. The right wing is a radicalized, weaponized cult attack them on everything: the January 6th violent insurrection, banning books, being against climate change, gun control, right? You have so much ammunition. Fight, fight, fight. Get in the culture war. Use your language and your messages. Deliver for your multicultural coalition. Do not throw us to the wolves to chase Becky and Karen. They're not going to come out for you, and we are paying attention. Do not bring James Carville from 1992 to fight a 2020 war and tell us, your people of color base that deliver for you, that we're being too woke because we want to end racism and want voting rights. Ridiculous.
Man, unfortunately, we are out of time. But Wajahat Ali, columnist for the Daily Beast and author of the upcoming book, Go Back to Where You Came From, and other helpful recommendations on how to become American. It is always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for being here on Amplified.